Welcome to the KMC Controls webinar on KMC Commander. So glad to have you all here, late October. Looking forward to a great webinar. We got the team with us today. I've got Dave Bowman, Daryl Davis, and Bear Hayden. They're the dream team of Commander, and they're going to be talking about some new updates, some Node-RED. We're going to be getting into a bunch of different little concepts, so we're really excited to be sharing that with you today. As we go through the webinar, feel free to ask questions. We keep a record of these questions for our future webinars to kind of guide our way forward, and then we are going to try to have a Q&A at the end and try to answer as many things as we can along the way. And so without further ado, I'm going to be turning it over to Dave in just a moment here.
So hi everyone, this is Dave, and we have Daryl and Bear here as well, so they're going to keep me honest and hopefully not kick me too much if I screw up in that, but I'll have a lot of input as well. So like Andrew was saying, we're going to go over the latest features. The Commander version that's out now, been out for a little while, is 2.2. And so we got a few things from there that we wanted to talk about. Then after that, we'll discuss some of the upcoming features that we're working on now, and working hard and heavy on that. And then we also wanted to go over some tips on ordering and installation, just some things we've seen from people out in the field and that. Then a little bit on applications, different scenarios or different applications where people are using Commander and what they're connecting to. And then Daryl will go hot and heavy into the integrating your Commander project with Node-RED. So, and like Andrew say, if you have any questions, put it down in chat, and the guys will tell me when we're hitting anything. There we are. Okay. One of the things we want to talk about for the latest features is, we have the ability to be able to add people into your project from the Commander cloud. So here we're on the demo site, and when you go up here to the settings and that, you'll get a list of different things for the project. One is just a project in general, one's for users and that. And when you get up there in the settings, you'll see this list here. And the idea here is you can create a template dashboard. Kind of skipped a little bit, we'll go back. Template dashboard. So if you have somebody that's set up as an admin or user or an owner or a technician in that, once they have a template or a dashboard set up, you can add them here. And then whenever somebody logs in for the first time into your project, then that dashboard that they have there as a template will get copied in and made their own. From that time on, they can still edit their dashboard and that, and then it will be tailored, whatever they want.
It'll be unique to them.
Yep, it'll still be unique to them, but it gives them a starting point.
Correct.
For that. So that's one thing, one way of doing duplicating dashboards. Another way is back here, when you click up here, that's what this icon up here, it's kind of hidden now a little bit, but that the box with the arrow, you can click on there and be able to copy a dashboard that you have made to a list of people, and you get the list of the users that's in your project, and you simply click on them, and then you can share it with this button down here, and then it'll do the same thing. It'll automatically copy that dashboard for those users, and it's just a one-shot snapshot kind of thing. So from then on, each user can still tailor the dashboard as they want and that. So let's go back to, let's see, that's duplicating cards. So another thing which we've had it for a while, same thing with the dashboards, we had it for a while. Once you have your you have your dashboard up here, you can click on this little wand looking thing, and it will say duplicate that card, or duplicate. That's the word. Yeah. And when that happens, then you get this pop up here, and what that does is, based upon the profile that is being used on the device that this card is in a way kind of bound to or attached to. Any other device that has that same profile, it'll duplicate this card for those devices for you. And then it'll automatically, like here we have VAV2, if we had a VAV1 or a VAV3 and so forth, that name, if you just leave it like that and just say apply, then that name will get changed and populated for all the
for each device.
Yeah, for each device and for each card there. So it'll match up with all the devices that have the same profile as the device that's connected to this card, and it'll duplicate cards. And you can, I mean, you can do 20, 30, 40, a whole bunch of them all in a row just by setting that up and hit apply. So that's pretty quick. And again, though, then that's a snapshot. So if you want to change a card for any particular VAV or any device, and you can do that. Oh, okay.
I'm whispering.
Oh, you're whispering. Okay. Another thing we wanted to mention is for as latest features, one of the things is managing your users for your project. In the past, we've you go into the project server, project.kmccontrols.com, and they're at either the system integrator level or the project level or their customer level. You can add users in there, but also you can do the same thing by clicking on
the settings.
Yeah, the settings back here. See if I can show up here. You click on the settings back here, and then once when the settings show up, actually, if you click on users here, then you can add a user here as well. And the other thing here, though, this is where you want to manage your users as far as the topology goes. So once you add a user here, they'll get put into the project server and
under that project.
Under the project, yep. And then you can come in here, you can still set what role they play, but here the topology will pop up, and then you can select however you have your site organized. If you have air
certain
handlers
and
certain devices or certain areas and that, then you can pick on which things that they can see in that. So
or not see.
Yep, or not see. So okay. So we did, but then, so our recommendation though is for technicians and admins, you want to go and still use the project server like you have been in the past.
Technicians would generally get their accounts added under the SI level because they're going to have multiple sites, whereas your end users, you would more than likely add them here so that they're only seeing their site.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So I think that's it for the features that we wanted to talk about. For upcoming features, we got several of them. One is the ability to duplicate alarms. So once you set up an alarm condition, then you can duplicate that across for different.
For instance, say you have a high temp alarm on a VAV, and you've got, normally you've got 12, 30 VAVs. You create that one alarm, and then you will be able to duplicate it to the other 29 VAVs. You don't have to keep recreating that alarm.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming.
And that, I think we have it too. What else? What's the other criteria? You can pick a
match by profile or by type.
Yeah.
And you can choose multiple of those options, or either or
Right.
option.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So it'll make setting up alarms considerably easier. Again, for if you got multiple things that have the same kind of alarm. Another thing we're working on, don't tap. Another thing we're working on is to be able to handle schedules from Commander, even though it's offline and not connected to the cloud. And so the idea there is we're going to be caching the schedule criteria on the local box. That way, if we lose connection to the cloud service, it will still handle the schedules. That's one of the things we've been seeing quite a bit is connectivity to the cloud comes and goes for some projects and that.
The
so,
internet goes down?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's when, I won't say when the Russians are in there and all that, but anyway. Okay. Then improvements with alarm notification groups. You want to go into that?
So currently, alarm configuration is configured under the SI, and what we've noticed is there's more of a need for it to be configured under the project, the individual project. So that's another change that's coming in the near future. I don't know exactly when, but it is being worked on. So it's going to be moved to the SI level to set up your alarm groups.
Another thing is being able to handle proxy servers. If you have a project or you have an IT network that needs proxy settings to get to the internet.
We have that.
And we have that.
That's not upcoming. That's,
oh, that's already there.
That's already
oh,
in
okay,
2.2,
cool.
I believe.
Oh, so you're supposed to say that up there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Nope.
Nope. So that's just in the settings group, you're able to set
It's
the
in
proxy.
settings at the very bottom. If you're local to the box, you can get to the proxy settings. A lot of those things are restricted for security reasons. You can't see them from the cloud. You have to be local on the box.
We have a question. Wait. Do you have a list of standard alarms that are working on high-low temp? Oh, we don't have alarm templates yet. That's something we can discuss but again, that's the idea of being able to duplicate alarms is you can set your own template up, at least for that project. Now to be able to go from project to another project with the same stuff, then we'll have to add that here later. So what else? Okay. So for all these upcoming features, of course, make sure you keep tabs on the KMC Commander channel.
We are in the process of making 2.2 Commander videos. I think we filmed 6 of them already. There will be, I believe, slated for 22 videos to come out. So look for those on our YouTube channel. Currently, we have 2.0 series and 2.2 will be coming soon.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else for upcoming features? Oh, it says.
Oh, that was a good one. Does this support AWS
Yes, green grass? I don't think right now, but
we'll use AWS.
Yeah, we use
so
AWS.
I would assume that.
Yeah, it's a particular flavor.
Okay.
We use Heroku with our AWS. So I'll look into green grass here. Let me write that down. Okay, is there a reason why it's certain?
So I'm gonna say that question probably would need more.
Oh.
Is there any reason why a certain project would only show a single VAV for an admin with all the topology checked, but another admin can view the entire project? Because my guess immediately from reading this is that the user that has the admin role, the topology is independent of each user. It doesn't go over every user. I would double check the topology on that one user that's an admin.
Yeah. We've seen that a couple times.
And if that doesn't answer your question, give us a call.
Yeah, that was Bear. Give Bear a call.
If we currently have a Commander box, will it upgrade itself to 2.2 automatically? Yes, sir, it will. If you are within good standing on your license connected to the cloud, it will pull that from the canonical store automagically.
Okay. Let's see, anything else on upcoming? We didn't write anything else.
No, I think the thing that's staring at me is the ordering and installation tips.
Yeah. All right, so we want to go into order and installation then. Just one of the things that we need, since the way Commander is organized with projects and that, is you have things at the system integrator level. Below that is the end customer level, which is your customer then. the system integrator customer. And then for each customer, then there is a project. And so when you order commanders, make sure you give us the your customer information, like what organization that is, and a contact information,
Address.
and address. And then each commander, you can have multiple commanders on one project. And what we like to do is have a unique name for each of those commanders. So besides knowing the customer and the project name, it'd be good to give us also the what we call the box name, or for that particular commander.
It might be Bank X, but building 3 or building 4, or you know, they're all Bank X, but there's a little more information that we need up front, which is going to help you and the ladies that place the order for us in customer service.
And also we need a time zone or an address for the project, so that way we can get the time zone.
That's why I say the address, so we can get the time zone right.
Yep. Okay. I think that was it for ordering. For installation,
gateways.
Yeah,
I see that one a lot.
Yeah. One thing is, you know, when Commander will automatically, like we answered before, Commander will automatically update its firmware and the snaps that's on there and that. But you have to connect it up to the cloud, or it has to be connected to the cloud. When you first get Commander, depending upon your internet access speed and that, it might take a little while. So we highly recommend that, or strongly, either way. When you get your Commander box, to set it up in just connect it right up to your office network there, straight out of the factory. Again, port 1 is set up for dynamic. Port 2 is set up for static. And then your Wi-Fi actually comes on, that's with an access point. But just make sure you plug in port 1, which is also where you would plug in your power over Ethernet, and then just let it sit and cook overnight to make sure that it's got all the latest updates before you actually go out to the job site. It'll help quite a bit. Another item is once you get to the job site and you set up the interfaces, port 1, and if you're going to change port 2 or whatever, or even use the Wi-Fi, you can only have one interface set up with a gateway. So that's typically, you would do that. You need the gateway in order to talk to the cloud. So normally that would be, a lot of people set that up with port 1 in the dynamic. So when you if you set up port 2 to talk to your devices, your building network and that, do not put in a gateway in there.
What happens is Commander, the operating system, gets confused, and it assumes that if there's a gateway, there's cloud access, and it tries to use both ports, creating more problems.
Yeah, and it'll slow down quite a bit.
Yes.
So let's see.
Don't use the same IP on port 1 that you use on port 2.
Yeah, each interface has to be a different subnet, and you do not want to overlap subnets too. So they have to be unique, completely independent subnets for all your interfaces there. When you're installing, just make sure you have cloud connection there, because your Commander won't let you go very far in its UI if you don't have any cloud access there. And last item I got here is, remember, Commander is just a box, a gateway. It's just another networking device. It will not solve your networking issues for you. So if you have troubles connecting to your other devices and all that, and due to some sort of network issue, Commander is going to have the same trouble connecting to your devices and that. Or if you have a problem with cloud connectivity and that, Commander will have the same problem. So so make sure, of course, to look at your networks and have them be robust and so forth. So
another new feature that's current in 2.2 is synonymous models. So if you have back 9001s and you've created profiles for them, And then you also have back 9001 CEs, the Ethernet and MSTP. You can use the same profile in both of those. You don't have to create a profile for each.
Yeah. Those are for KMC devices.
KMC devices, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Let's see.
5801s, 5802s.
New sips, are you reading off the cheat sheet? Yeah, well, we have our own little cheat sheet, but
The cheat sheet is a history of the calls we get most common.
Yeah.
And John, that's your 2 questions for this webinar, so calm down.
Shoot.
I was also going to say, guys, we have about 8 minutes till 2:30, so if we want to get Daryl going here soon.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and we just finished. Yep, we just finished with the install tip. So
the star of the show is next.
So let's do this, and let's do this.
Let Daryl do it.
Yep. Well,
Well, yeah, so this will be a little teaser for Node-RED. We have, when you get the Node-RED add-on, it'll show up under here. There's a little Node-RED button that you can click. I'm on a slightly different server, but you'll come into a screen that looks something like this. Node-RED is a third-party package. I mean, it's an open source package that we've adopted as a way that you can program really any custom application. So this, our purpose here, I guess, is really just to give you a quick view of what you can do in here or how to even begin. On the left side, there's a bunch of nodes that are your programming blocks. You'll see that there's a login and an initialization tab. If you just open up a brand new tab by clicking this plus, you'll see just a blank screen that we can play with. Everything that you work with in here, you can display in this right-hand pane, the debug node. And you're pretty much always going to start out with some kind of, for your input, you'll start out with an inject node. And just to show you what comes out of this, we'll just tie these two together. This green block is a debug node. And if on this inject, you have a button that you can press. And it's just set up right now to give you a timestamp. But if you take a look at this, it says message payload. And a message is always what's being transferred across between blocks. And so what you'll do is either add things or read things off of this message. So now we don't really care about this timestamp, but we have a bunch of blocks that we've created, like this get global is an easy one to get you going. Here we've got some drop downs that you can choose points or devices. You know, points are going to be a frequent thing that you'll use.
I think it's important to note that all of these nodes on the left, the get global and those things, these are not, they don't come standard with Node-RED. You can go download Node-RED, but these are custom nodes that KMC has, well, Daryl has made to work with Commander and tie into the API.
And then, you know, payload is a very common, that's the thing that you're going to be sending to the commander, or when you read a value from a commander, it'll come in as the message payload. But if I click here, we'll see results now. Instead of getting a timestamp, we've got an actual point here with a current value. And so we can dig we can do things now with this curve owl. I'm going to jump to one of our other examples here. In the, everything in here you can import and export. They're just JSON files, so you can copy them to your Windows clipboard and paste them. They can be emailed back and forth. They're very easy to work with. In this case, we can pull them out of a library. So if you wanted to get a trend, we have an example flow here for getting a point trend. And just like the Get Global I used up here, we can set this up to get some point value. And assuming there is trend data, I should be able to get some information out of this. Oh, and we can decide what range we want. Okay, so this is set up to get today's trend data. We can also get the last 60 minutes, or we've got a few options there. And so now we have successful, got the data from the API. There's 795 samples. And okay, so if we took a look in there, that's the point. If we actually look in the trend data, this is what it looks like, just a bunch of timestamps with values. We have some other blocks in here that help us make some sense out of this. This is not the one that I wanted. If we want to look at the data.
You're supposed to kick him.
Okay, so now I'm just going to look at, well, let's just look at the stats. So pulling up the information again. Okay, so you may want, instead of course, looking through all that data, you can use this select trend data to look at an average. So you may put the other, it depends on what your requirement is, of course. You're going to decide to do something that you can't do right now in our Commander UI. Maybe you want to send an email if the average temperature has been below 65 Fahrenheit for an hour, or something that you wouldn't normally be able to do with a standard alarm. And so you can actually email it. There are some blocks that allow you to send out an email. And we don't have quite enough time to go into that, but.
So this is a good question from Chad. Are the nodes listed in your demo available publicly, or are they proprietary to the KMC Commander hardware software solution? And the answer is when you purchase a Node-RED add-on with your Commander, we provide these nodes in custom library for you. They're not available publicly. You can get the basic ones, but Daryl wrote JSON files to create these nodes under Commander. Yeah, the blocks on the left are called nodes. Is that right?
Yes.
In Node-RED? Yes.
Yeah, so that
I think of them as like a function block or something.
Right. Yeah, so like we do have some that are provided in a standard Node-RED, and then we have some that are specific to Commander that really help you out for dealing with the API.
And I'm sure you're lost like I am, not you, Daryl, but people watching. This is tied in, getting this data from Commander. It's tied into our API, pulling these points.
So it's really running a service in the cloud.
Right. So it kind of gives you the ability to add logic to the cloud, and then also pull, trends or whatever. Whatever data is in Commander, you can pull it out through here if you don't want to use our page, or it's a different display.
Or you you can use you can connect up with other services
Yeah,
too. Node-RED.
We've used this to connect with weather stations and third-party devices outside of the scope of the norm, BACnet IP, Ethernet, SNMP, Modbus, etc.
So
I would say you can go ahead and show us maybe one or two more things if you had them to show in Node-RED, and then we can kind of go from there. And I encourage people to keep sending your questions during this time, and we'll try to get them all here at the end.
And says you're not lost. I was mainly speaking about myself. I'm lost.
Yeah, so this select trend data has these stats that I've shown here, but if it was a digital point, we do have another block that you can use from the library. And this library is our standard, what you would get when you
get the
have the
add-on.
That's called this trend to runtime. So this would be instead of, yeah, if I have I've got a fan, for instance, I want to know some things about. Then I use this runtime block. And if I've been good, then I get some data back.
We believe in you, Daryl.
I did hit the button, right? This does tell you when you've successfully clicked a button. Okay, so in addition to the trend information, you'll see that there's some runtime stats. So the number of hours that my fan has been on, state totals, cycle totals. We've got a duty cycle in here, and various time information. So it just takes all those hundreds, or in a day, you might have 12 or 1,400 samples that it just compresses into usable information. So now you can say, okay, I really want to know if I've cycled 1,000 times in an hour. I'm going to send an email to myself or to whoever needs it. So we want to do
Yeah, one other thing. So again, it's kind of like a block programming environment, Node-RED. It's that the Node-RED itself is publicly out there and a lot of people use it, but you can do all sorts of wonderful and auto magic things with it. And Daryl's worked quite a bit on making the nodes specific to the Commander's API to make it a lot easier. But it's not limited to Commander services, and you can even cross from one box to another and get data across different Commander boxes with it, and do all sorts of things.
right. Yeah, so there's just some simple examples in here of like point transfer. And so here you're grabbing some information from one point and writing it to another.
Chad has a good question. What is the typical user for using Node-RED with Commander? The typical user is not your standard controls tech. It's going to be your IT department's software guys that know JSON. They use it, and there are some techs out there, but generally they're not controls techs.
Hopefully we're starting to kind of bridge that gap a little bit.
And that's the other part of us building, or Daryl building, these nodes specific to Commander to help bridge that gap.
I wanted to make note that we do have some new videos. Specifically, we have a new KMC Commander case study with Matsui Nursery. If you haven't checked that out, it's an awesome case study in Salinas, California. It's the largest orchid grower, I believe, in the world. It's certainly within the US, and they have like hundreds of thousands of these orchids and over 69 greenhouses, and they're using Commander to monitor different temperatures and their different greenhouses, and it's a great use case of how that can be used in a grow facility, so we definitely encourage you to check that out. We also have a new IoT Summit video. When we were out in California as well, we partnered with Alvarez Technology Group, and we had an excellent summit where we had a lot of great conversations, and that's kind of a good example to see kind of what those summits are all about and what they're like. We also encourage you, if you want to learn more about KMC Commander or direct anyone to more information about it, go ahead to kmccommander.com, and that'll pull up this web page here where you can read about the newest features. And there's also some screen grabs and different things down the page where you can see interactive videos as well of Commander in use. And then Bear mentioned earlier, we do have a series of videos already on Commander 2.0, and we're going to be working on 2.2 very soon. And this webinar and other webinars will be available on YouTube as usual. And you can follow us on any of our social media platforms here, including LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we definitely want to interact with you in those spaces. And we appreciate you joining us. And you are going to get a survey when you exit the webinar. We would appreciate you to fill that out. And if you want to leave anything in the notes section, kind of about more things that you want to see within Commander or other video topics from KMC, please go ahead and send them our way. We would appreciate that very much. So thanks, guys, for joining us, and have a great day.